Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio, second Tuesday food, wine, and travel show with the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We call them IFWTWA. And we do this every second Tuesday. We get together with the various destinations across the country and around the world to find out what's going on in their region and what we can experience. And we're super excited to welcome David DeGolyer back on the show. He is from Explore Steuben. Now, this is up in the Finger Lakes region of New York State. I encourage you to go to their website, exploresteuben.com, and that's STEUBEN.com. So welcome back to the show, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Nice to see you.
Hey, I know when Nancy and I were saying we were so bummed that we were so close to you, but we're gonna make plans to come out your way.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
You got parks,
Yep.
You've got outdoor recreation, you've got art, ice
Yep.
cream. I remember ice cream from
Definitely
last time.
ice cream. Yeah.
And then you've Corning glass, right? And
Yep.
then you've got one of our favorite things in the world, wine. You've got all our favorite things in the world. So last time you were on the show, you were talking about wine and Finger Lakes and all the vineyards, but it seems like a whole bunch has happened within a year in regards to awards, collaborations. So just before we get to that, tell everyone just like how many vineyards do you have and what's the general experience for folks going over? There's nothing general about wine. What a bad word.
Well, I mean, so in Steuben is Steuben County, which, the Finger Lakes region is made up of 14 different counties. It's over 9,000 square miles. We happen to be one of the biggest counties. We're bigger than Rhode Island, so, it's a pretty big geographic space. Yeah, it's a great driving destination. And like you said, there's a lot of great outdoor stuff. You can see behind you, there's vineyards, Keuka Lake, and around Keuka Lake, there are probably 20 some wineries around Keuka Lake because they're popping up all the time. There are 17 wineries just in Steuben County. And then in the northern part, there's another dozen wineries. So between 20 and 25 wineries, and some of them are exceptionally, award-winning wines, like you mentioned. Just last year at the New York Wine Classic, Vice Vineyards won Winery of the Year for New York State. And they also won the best pink wine, which were their rosé, and the best white wine. And then right across the lake, Dr. Frank's won best sparkling wine. They were also named the best winery tour in the country last year. Wow. And this little boutique winery called Keuka Lake Vineyards that people sometimes drive past because it's kind of in this old historic barn. You don't want to drive past it because it's awesome. And they make some hybrid wines that are dry and they're exceptional. And they won actually the New York State's best red wine last year. So there were a lot of awards being thrown around Keuka Lake for their wines.
Wow.
Yep.
So wine and ice cream, here we go. So ice cream is still on the menu, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have actually, we call it an ice cream trail, but there are probably 60 different ice cream shops in the area, just in Steuben County. And some of them are really great. They're handcrafted, old-fashioned ice cream with a lot of unique flavors, a lot of great taste. The culinary scene in general here, between the craft beverages, the craft breweries, we have some of the best in the state as well. Exceptional wineries. We have a few wineries that were named one of the top 100 wineries in the world. And also some of the top 100 wines in the world. So, we're doing some good stuff, especially with the culinary.
Wow. This is amazing when you start thinking about everything you have and it, here you're part of this conglomerate of counties, but okay, you're the big ones, right? You're the big county, but all this wine is a good thing. So you are effectively part of Finger Lake. So you actually have those fingers in the lake. I remember you guys telling me about a special finger that you have.
Yes. Kevin did that. Yeah. It happens to be located strategically in the center. Keuka Lake, it's the only Finger Lake. There are 11 of them. It's the only one not shaped like a finger. It's actually shaped like a Y, or a peace sign. and it happens to be the middle of the arrangement. So that's interesting, and it's just stunning because it's got a bluff and it's just beautiful. And the nice thing is the lakes, you can see part of it behind you. They're big enough to get out on, and you're not going to run into other people, but small enough that you can get around them in 45 minutes to an hour and hit several of the wineries and breweries and restaurants. And, it's all small towns. So it's very laid back. It's rural, it's just scenic. So if you're looking to get away from the hustle and bustle a little bit, perfect place to do it. There's a lot of great little inns and hotels and B&Bs and, Airbnbs and whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that you bring up bed and breakfast. I think they always get left off the
Yeah.
parameter of where to stay. And these days where so many of us want that really authentic escape, that authentic lodging experience, I think bed and breakfasts are awesome. And the innkeepers always know what's going on. They know all the gossip. They really do.
They do. And I think you're right. They get overlooked sometimes because they're, I don't know, maybe like vintage idea, but and with with the Airbnbs, there's something to be said for those things that you can get. But the authentic bed and breakfast, is just a unique experience because you really have your own built-in concierge. You have somebody who, and it's more one-on-one. It's not like, you're in a hotel with 300 other guests and their concierge is giving everybody attention. They're there. They tell you, hey, you got to check this. If you love this, you got to go try this. And, they're going to say, hey, Watkins Glen isn't in Steuben County, but Watkins Glen is half an hour away, and it's got 19 waterfalls. You can't not come here and not go to that, or you can't come here and not go to the Museum of Glass. It's the most remarkable museum of glass in the world. It's 25 minutes away.
That's the thing too. And when you're in those kind of situations, and some inns do this too, boutique inns and boutique hotels where they have like happy hour or even at the breakfast time. You start talking with everybody else that's visiting in the area, and it's like you make friends. We've made friends over just travels and inns and bed and breakfasts. And it's like, well, what did you do? Well, what I did that. Oh, I wanted to go there. What was it like? So everyone starts. It's like you have your own tourism people right there going on. It's like a little convention for you guys, it's awesome because you hear what people like and don't like. And I think innkeepers really get to have that firsthand knowledge of what people are like experiencing. And if there's something negative, they go, oh, well, maybe you went down the wrong road or something, whatever it was, or maybe there is something that is to be fixed. Who knows? Nothing's perfect, but you guys, we were up in upstate New York very briefly. We were thinking of you, and it was like, you have such a beautiful region. We went through like the Erie Canal area, but it's so green and lush and quaint and relaxed. Like you said, like driving is easy out there. I didn't think that because I kept thinking New York, I'm scared. And then all this, well, let's not talk about what happened. I almost landed us right there. Quick, like turn around, stop the car before you end up on that road. Thank goodness.
We've all done that.
I'm very scared about driving in New York City. I think I have a right to be. I think, it's just not, put me in the country, I'm good. Yeah.
You have to have a different mindset when you drive in New York City. It's, I think it's more accessible than people think, but it's also, you have to have a different outlook when you drive. You can't be overly defensive because you'll be in the same space parked forever. But yeah, it's certainly different. And the thing is about upstate, in the Finger Lakes region in Steuben County, I always joke that, rush hour really is just that feeling you get when you're out exploring the area, because you can kind of take your time, and really, we don't get traffic backed up too much. You don't usually have traffic jams unless there's an unfortunate, accident or something like that. It's, I lived in LA for, a while, and, you have to plan your day around like 4 hours in advance. I got to drive here, and here, if you want to go someplace that's 15 minutes away, you can probably leave 15, 20 minutes early and get there on time. So it's nice luxury to have that, really kind of just a relaxed vibe, when you're traveling around the area, to really just kind of savor it. we're talking about Savor Steuben is, something we're doing right now about all the culinary stuff. But, there's a lot of things to savor, including that quiet time and that peacefulness and that just relaxed feeling you can do when you're not like bare knuckles on the steering wheel.
Right. I think, do you get a lot of people that come out of New York City and out of because you're not that far from even Connecticut and stuff, because we were that's how we drove up.
Yep. No, we're about 4.5 hours from Manhattan, about 4 hours from Philly,
that's not
4 to
bad.
5 hours from DC. So we get traffic from there. Cleveland, we're 5 hours straight shot almost. And Boston, we're 6 hours. So we're in a driving distance of 6 hours or less from about 25% of the population in the country. And a lot of, a lot of people over the last 2 years, let's just say, have kind of reevaluated their travel and have been going closer to home. And we're right that back door, place that people don't know about, like from Philly and New York City. So a lot of people have been coming up the last couple of years and just, hunkering down, having some time, enjoying the outdoors, because there's beautiful outdoors, and the small towns. You get that. The small town charm isn't just because the things look old and quaint. It's because that's just the lifestyle there. People are friendly. Everything is kind of laid back and, meant to just be enjoyed. And that's something it's kind of hard to describe until you actually get to a place like that and you feel it. And I know sometimes, we don't realize how much we carry around with us, and when you get to a place like that, it's almost like letting out this big sigh you didn't realize you were carrying around. It's kind of an unexpected, benefit from visiting places like that.
I agree. We stopped. Sometimes we do these crazy trips, and then you stop and you do your parks. And we arrived at sunrise outside Seneca Falls. I want to say Montezuma National Wildlife Refuge, but there was a wildlife refuge, so not far from you.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. We watched sunrise, and then we were like, I don't want to get back on the road. I just want to stay here for the rest of the day. And when that hits you, that feeling, that sounds like Bob Marley, when the feeling hits, it's like it does.
Oh,
it does.
Sure.
It does. You just kind of like, oh, I really needed this. And you don't realize how bad you need it until you get out in nature, or like a waterfall has that, like, it's like going to the ocean, because you have that rush and that exhilaration, but at the same time, it's a pattern, that rhythmical pattern of the moving of the water that's calming at the same time. It's wild. So I think our bodies physically need this, especially after everybody's been on and off sick and going through all kinds of stuff over the last few years. The more we can get into nature, the better, and just to build up our body, I think. Our bodies need help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our bodies, our minds, our emotions, everything. It's one of the things you talked about, parks and stuff, and getting outdoors is an opportunity to reset a little bit, and kind of recalibrate our energy and, retune all those, whatever language you want to use. But, we're drawn to water. I think, maybe it's because most of us are made of water, but there is a calming element to water, like by the lakes. And, that's the nice thing. Like I said, you go to Cuca Lake, you can just go sit in the park right by the water and just, chill literally and relax. Or you can go to, have a nice meal right around the lake. There are several lakeside dining spots. If you have a boat, you can go right up to the dock on a boat, but you can drive there in a car, sit outside, enjoy a glass of wine or whatever, and just take, soak up all that stuff. But there are also ways, if you don't have your own stuff, you can rent paddle boards and kayaks and jet skis and pontoon. So you can still get out on the lake. Getting up to it is awesome. Getting on it or in it is, even another level. But like you said, waterfalls, just the movement, the sound, there's that kind of inherent connection that we have, I think, that really kind of helps you calm down.
Oh, I love that. And wine does that too.
Absolutely.
And what about art? Let's go to the glass, because I know that you have, Corning, which is, a lot of people are going to just travel just for that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But don't you also have a thriving art scene too? With music and festivals and all of that? Yeah.
It's again, it's kind of nice because you don't expect
I want to move there. I'm just saying, it sounds really good.
A a lot of business owners around here have moved here because they came and they're like, oh my gosh, and a lot of people do move here once they've been here. The interesting thing too is most people who come back. Most of our visitors are people who've been over and over and over, and it's because of all the ways it speaks to you. And the art scene is phenomenal. I mean, you don't expect to find the world-class art, the caliber that you're going to find in Corning and the area, in little towns. The town of 11,000 people is the preeminent wine, glass museum in the world, and half a mile away is the Rockwell Museum, which is not Norman Rockwell, but it's Native American, Western. It's the art about the American experience. So you have all these incredible artists who, visual art, but they also do public art. So there's alleyway art projects, and there's concerts. Like you said, there are events that have music throughout the year. There's a winery not far from where that picture is behind you, where they have a concert pavilion, and they have, so just by your right shoulder, a little bit around the corner, there's a winery that has concerts all year long, some really top draws. So there's just there everything from free concerts in the park on Thursdays and most of the towns in the little town square to top scale pavilion type concerts. So there's just a nice range of musical opportunities and performing art.
You have a lot of musicians upstate New York, because I interview them all the time. Nancy and I were always talking to musicians. They're up in Woodstock, and then they're all like, I haven't been there. See, this is the thing. If you haven't been there, you don't remember all the stuff, right? Or even how to pronounce Steuben correctly.
Steuben is fine. That's okay. It's one of those words that depends on where you grow up, I think. And so it's okay. Yeah.
It's stupendous.
It's stupendous. That's right.
I like it.
I might have to steal that.
I like it, but all the musicians, they all talk about that natural experience and the real four seasons. So you sent us some photos of fall. Like, so I want to tell people, like, think about fall too, not just, spring and summer. Right.
Well, we have such a variety of trees and natures and forests that fall is just spectacular. The foliage, the colors, because we have, maple and elm and ash and, all sorts of different types of trees, as well as the evergreen trees. Then we've got the vineyards, and those get nice and golden. And, you've got this patchwork of vineyards and farmland and forest, and it's just breathtaking, really. And then you juxtapose it with the lake, and we have, just in Steuben County, there are 4 different rivers that you can kayak on and fish. And, so there's a lot of outdoor experiences. There's the one thing people don't know is there's the Finger Lakes Trail is almost 1,000 miles in length, that these wilderness footpaths that go all over the place. So there's a lot of really good opportunities to get out and hike for half an hour, a couple hours, depending upon your level of mobility and what your interests are, but there's also those towns with the shops, and people like to go, like, Corning, we were mentioning, with the glass and the art. There's also, dozens and dozens of antique shops and other kind of boutiques, great restaurants. So it's, you can go and spend a couple days and really have a great experience just doing that.
Well, also there's these, wait, I got to go to the right side here. What's going on? That's the gravel thing. What's up with this gravel race or gravel?
So, it's called the Keuka Gravel Classic. It's an actual race that's happening this year, June 4th. But it's interesting because they're changing it a little bit. So there's a 50-mile race. If you're an actual avid, cyclocross or a gravel racer, it's a 50-mile course. There are going to be, I think, 3 to 5 different stations that are going to have like speed trials and stuff like that. So like you could race the whole thing and maybe not win the whole thing, but you could win a stage, so it's a little bit, of those elements. It's an official race. But it's also got a 25-mile ride that if you, let's say you're not interested in racing competitively, but you just want to go out and take in that beautiful scenery and ride around the countryside on these beautiful back roads, there's a 25-mile component to that. It's like a group ride basically that people are doing, and Steuben Brewing is kind of facilitating this race. And then afterwards, there's a huge after race party at the brewery. So there's live music and food trucks, and just actually the view is pretty much right what you got there from the brewery, almost a little closer to the ground, of course. But
But this is what's really cool. It seems
Yeah.
like there's, we think about hiking and nature trails, but
yeah,
you've got like camping too. That's something we
Yep.
should look at. Like you can get out there and actually really push your energy. Let's put it that
oh
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can, you can challenge yourself physically if you want with the hiking and the biking and the paddling and all those things. And you can also just take it in and have a tranquil, serene time as well, depending upon what your interests are. A lot of people just ride bikes around town and take in that small town charm that way. And then other people get out, and whether it's 3 miles or 50 miles, and enjoy the panoramic views. And there's quite a few routes and roads that take you through, past. Some of them take you past Amish farms, and some of them take you past the Stony Brook State Park, for example, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes from Cuca Lake, where the waterfalls are. So there's a lot of, ways to go. Really push like you said, your energy, and kind of push yourself a little bit if you want, for sure.
Yeah. Now the other thing too, what about families?
Oh
Do you
yeah.
see a lot of that, that kind of, traveler coming in is kind of it seems like it could be a really cool family summer vacation spot, like a
Yep.
tradition kind of family destination.
Yeah, for sure. Some families do come back year after year. Like they go to Cuca Lake, they stay in town. They make it's just their getaway. Something they share together. And people do the same thing with the Museum of Glass. That's something they go every year. You can make your own glass. So some people will make like holiday ornaments, and like every year they have a new ornament they add to their Christmas tree, or that you can go and make pumpkins. And there's also a little glass studio that nobody really even knows is there, but they actually started the hands-on glass in Corning 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, you can go there and actually make paperweights and pumpkins and all this stuff. And it's a very intimate experience. It's like you have the studio to yourself, and it's something that you could take your family or friends and go and really, make something special. It's one thing to go and get a souvenir. It's another thing to go and make your own souvenir.
But that's what we're talking about. That's what
yeah.
those real memories are. It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
you're
for sure.
actually creating those true memories and true, you feel connected to the place that you were in, instead of just, go have your burger and leave kind of
Yep.
thing,
And we have some great burgers.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, then
now
going back to the
burgers
families,
and ice cream go well.
yeah,
Just
for
saying.
sure. Do you have, like the Museum of Glass? You don't necessarily think about taking kids to a museum, but there's this innovation center. I mean, most of the, top glass technologies since the 1800s, have been made in some way in Corning, whether it's
Wow.
light bulbs for Thomas Edison, fiber optics that connects us on the internet, like right now,
Oh,
the
wow.
glass for your cell phones, windows that were made for the space shuttles, and, just some really, so there's amazing science part of it that kids just geek out over. It's really kind of fun because there's some interactive pieces and different things. But there's, like you said, camping is a lot of fun. A lot of places to camp, whether it's campgrounds or the state parks that have camping as well.
Oh, cool.
And then, but if you're into, like I said, families come to the lake, because you can go to a hotel and stay in a pool, and we have quite a few of those. They have nice pools and you can kind of lounge around. But when you get to go to the lake and actually get in the water and swim, it's just something about it. You can't compare that to any swimming pool. I mean, it's just pretty cool.
I dig that. It's just get dirty. I think we
Yeah.
all want outdoors. Get dirty. Get your feet in the sand.
Yeah.
There's something to that, and it's just like I said, it's so quintessentially beautiful where you are that it's. I'm glad we got to like be a near piece of that. Go there. But going
Yeah.
back to Corning, I'm wondering if they made like the glass tubes for like the old organs, like the old pipe organs, and like old organs had these tubes in them.
Yeah.
And then I was interviewing Susie and Simon from the Starlight Campbell Band, and they just got this thing called the plasma, and they still need to cut. And it's like It's like Frankenstein kind of
Oh,
thing. They
yeah.
plug in their guitar or bass or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and it goes through this tube, and it has electricity in the tube that you can
Oh,
watch, and it distorts the sound. So
okay.
now they're addicted to the plasma,
That's
but
pretty
it
neat.
is this tube, but
Yeah.
it's analog and digital put together. It's kind of trippy. So when you were talking about that, I'm like, I bet you they have something to do with this, the plasma.
I'm not sure about that part. But I mean,
It's just
you know,
neat.
glass is this
Yeah.
ubiquitous thing that we take for granted because I mean, half the time we're looking through it really literally, right? So
Yeah.
we don't really think about it a whole lot because it's everywhere in our lives. You just look around and you know, unless you're in a closet someplace, you know, it's going to be everywhere you look. The
And who doesn't want a
but
Coca-Cola in a glass bottle, right?
that's true. That's true.
Like, yeah.
Vintage
Just
for
saying.
sure. But yeah, I mean, the light bulbs for Thomas Edison, like I said,
That's
fiber
wild. I didn't know
optics,
that.
you know, during the pandemic, you know, they made Corning, you know, develop these glass vials for the vaccine, you know, that were
Mm.
special vials. I mean, they're doing lots of things. They make special ceramics for catalytic converters, and you know, they used to make the, you know, the big television tubes, and they make, of
Okay, so
course,
that's the
Pyrex.
same
You know,
kind of
you've heard
thing.
of Pyrex and
Yeah.
Corel and all the glassware that are
Mhm.
traditional stuff. They were all invented there. They, you know, they invent things sometimes with glass. They come up with these technologies and then they actually don't have applications for them for years. So like Gorilla Glass, the glass that you have on your cell phones, and you know, that really almost indestructible glass was, I think, invented back in the 60s, but they didn't have the
What are
applications
they going
for
to
it.
do with it?
Now the things that, you know, they're on your cell phones, they're on televisions, you know, all those things, you know, kind of come full circle sometimes.
You know what it is that they're next to all these amazing wineries, and
That's what it is. It
wineries
frees up
help
the thought.
creativity. And
Yeah.
when your brain calms and allows like thoughts to come in
Yep.
that are positive and good from being out in nature, and then you have some wine or some
Yep.
brewskis to kind of elevate that creative. I'm just saying,
Well, you know, the nice thing too is a lot of the wineries and breweries, you can sit outside and enjoy them, you know,
I
enjoy
love
a
that.
glass of wine. You can enjoy, some of them have, you know, food pairings that you can sit outside and enjoy food and wine together, and the spectacular views. So yeah, there's a lot of great places to have those really kind of next level thoughts that you're not,
Well,
sometimes
I know you're
we
a
think
poet,
so
so
hard.
come on, you're a poet, so does
I
it help your
am. Yeah.
poetry? See, does
Oh
it
yeah,
help?
absolutely. Yeah. And I
See?
mean, the thing is, you know, we tend to get great ideas when we're doing something else. You know, it's like when we're really hyper focused on the thing we're trying to focus on, we don't always come up with the right idea, right? But when you have a beautiful surroundings and you're outside taking it all in, or you're enjoying a glass of wine and the beautiful day, it's kind of easy to go, oh yeah, you know, you have those epiphanies sometimes that you don't expect,
See, that's a good reason for travel right there.
you know?
Well, yeah,
For
because
sure.
otherwise we get stuck in a rut. If you don't
Yep.
travel, you're looking at the same thing over and over, and a computer just doesn't do it. You got to
That's
go
true.
out and experience the real thing, So
Yeah.
very cool to have you back on the show again,
Oh, it's
Dave.
really nice to see you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to come through this year. We'll work on
Yeah,
it, and if not,
definitely.
I'm gonna honk the horn, off the
Honk the
highways.
horn.
But we'll have to, if anything, we'll just dart in, have some wine, and
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and like some of the famous food that you have. Why not? Famous wine, famous food. Sounds
Yep.
good with a view. Everyone, again, it's Explore Steuben or Steuben. Be stupendous. Go to
That's right.
exploresteuben.com. That's STEUBEN.com. Also, we want to thank our friends over at the International Food Wine Travel Writers Association. You can go to IFWTWA.org. And when you're there, if you're a travel writer or a destination, or even a winemaker, check out their conference. It's coming out in October on the Princess Cruises. So that is going to be just one of the off the charts experience. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
If you're going to go to a conference, you might as well cruise, man. It sounds good to me. I want wine. All right,
Yeah.
give me some inside knowledge, some good networking, and
Yeah.
Sounds good. But don't
It's a
throw
great
anybody
conference
over the
too.
boat. Yeah, have you been to one of their
Yeah, I
conferences?
went last year.
Oh, cool.
Having it in the context of a cruise is a very unique experience, I think, for everybody. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's a very informative conference. The travel writers are, really super nice people, genuine people, and it was a great experience.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear
Yeah.
that you went. Yeah, because that was the one in Florida.
Yeah.
Tampa.
Yep.
Is it
Yep.
St. Pete?
Yep.
St.
St.
Pete.
Pete's.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's all connected to me
That's
for that
right.
area. Of course, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Take care, everyone. Happy, safe traveling. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.